The Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen has suggested that he and his party may be willing to work with certain parts of the ANC in the future. He names the parts. He talked about President Cyril Ramaphosa. He said he would refuse to work with people like the Deputy President David Mabuza or the ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule. He gave an interview to the Sunday Times in which he also suggested there could be a major realignment of our politics in the near future. Yanan Jabir is a political analyst. He joins us now. Yanan, good afternoon to you. I mean, this is quite an interesting suggestion that the DA could work with the ANC. I mean, is it science fiction or is it just sheer fantasy? Is it really possible?
Well, good afternoon, Stephen. I think it could be either science fiction or fantasy, but it's also reality. So welcome to South African politics, isn't it? Look, what I am made to understand is that this interview was requested 2 weeks ago. So there was a lot of planning that went into it. And one can but only surmise that the DA thought it a smart move to try and send some sort of political signal regarding realignment of South African politics. Whether that was such a smart move and whether it was smartly executed, of course, remains to be seen.
Politics, as we know, is about interests. Could parts of the ANC's constituency and parts of the DA's constituency, could sort of parts of those constituency becoming closer now than they've been in the past?
Stephen, that remains to be seen. What we are dealing with is an official opposition of which the vote clearly is receding. It receded in 2019 and it has receded in by-elections since. As for the ANC, its vote, of course, plummeted in 2019, but in by-elections it's been doing quite well. I would say that if the DA were to be seen as a well-functioning party, some sort of what passes for strategic thought in that area must have been at play here. So one has to ask oneself what it is that the DA set out to achieve in an interview with a major political newspaper, major newspaper like the Sunday Times. Clearly, Mr. Steenhuisen set out to fly a few kites and to make a few efforts at realignment in politics. Whether this was the correct way to do so, the correct forum and the correct timing, I'm sure the DA might well argue. Whether it was indeed the case remains to be seen.
I mean, we always need to be careful when one party talks about another party. The point I'm making is that they're not doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. These people are in competition for votes. I mean, it could be argued, perhaps, and I mean, what would the conversation about South African politics be without a good conspiracy theory? But this could actually weaken Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC, right?
Stephen, I don't think that you deal in conspiracy theories, and I try not to either. It is clear that whether intended or not, and whether whatever is the DA's brains trust these days, attempted it or not, it will weaken Mr. Ramaphosa. It will strengthen his opponents in the ANC, the very people whom Mr. Steenhuisen, at least in the interview, claims to want to strengthen. Now, whether he wants to strengthen them, of course, is another matter. None of us can see in the collective head of the DA or its collective morality. But what is clear is that he has weakened Mr. Ramaphosa, if anything. If the ANC takes any notice of this effort, it will weaken Mr. Ramaphosa because it strengthens the hand of those who say that he has somehow wandered from the path and has somehow made deals or has